What's up, awesome party peeps? It's Dr. Sonia here with Jump First, and happy Tuesday to you. I always have to remember what day it is. That is so crazy. But happy Tuesday to you. I'm excited on this morning, per usual. I actually had someone tell me, and this is like real quick off topic, but we're going to get into it today. We're going to talk about how comparison is the thief of creativity. But I had one of my friends the other day tell me that I'm always so happy. I am bubbly, and her kids notice too. And I just can't help it, y'all. So great. You all are here. Let me go ahead and make sure that we are on do not disturb. There we are. Okay, so great morning. So today I want to talk about comparison being the thief of creativity. I often quote or reference a quote by Theodore Roosevelt, which says that comparison is the thief of joy, right? And I agree, but I want to add to that, like, comparison is also the thief of creativity, it's the thief of independence, it's the thief of your personal initiative. And it also leads us down this path when we're comparing ourselves with other people, down this path to start to view others and what they're doing as competition. As a creative, as a high performer, high achiever, I want to let you know, like, they're not handing out like sportsmanship trophies and stuff for what it is that we do, right? Like, there is no measurement against for us, right, as creatives. And so I want to remind you that, again, the lane that you create for yourself, all you got to do is stay in that lane. I've made more money, freed up more time, and created a lifestyle around my business by simply operating in my own lane, in my own gifts, while you're so busy looking at someone else. And I'll tell you this too, like, what hit me when I first came into this game, into entrepreneurship full time, I was looking at other people who have been in the game for quite some time. And what it caused me to do was to make some mistakes, because I was jumping the gun, as they say, right? Like, I was jumping ahead of my time, ahead of where I currently was, and not learning the things that I needed to learn, or at least not learning them the easy way, not learning the things I needed to learn to get to those destiny moments, right? To get to the places that I saw other people who have been doing it for quite some time doing it in their unique gifts and rights and in their unique lanes. One of the biggest mistakes that I made was jumping into ads too soon, right? Facebook ads, Instagram ads. I mean, I dumped tons of money. I wasted tons of money. I remember when I first quit my 9-to-5, my corporate gig, I was making about 6 figures a year. People thought I was crazy. And I remember having about $13,000 or so inside of a tin can. Okay. And I don't know, it was just this thing, like, I wanted to see, what it was that I was building towards. I wanted to tangibly touch it. I wanted it to be physically in my face. And I remember I ran through that. Like, I blew through it, trying to do things ahead of time, but also trying to do things that I saw other people doing. It was that sense of comparison, right? It was that sense of, trying to just get where I saw other people were before my time again. And so I want to encourage you today, in maybe about 9 months, 6 to 9 months into entrepreneurship full time, after quitting my corporate career, blowing through a bunch of money. And by the way, I lost somewhere around 30 to 50 grand on Facebook ads. I stopped counting at $10,190. I still don't know the exact number to this day, because it was too painful. It was way too painful. What's going on, y'all? Great morning, great morning. And so, what I realized about 6 to 9 months in was that comparing myself, or trying to keep up with the Joneses, as they say, or trying to, compete with people who weren't even in my lane, right? Like, didn't have my unique gifts, my unique story, my unique perspective and talents. It was just all for naught, right? It's like, to what end are you willing to continue to do that? There will always be, if you start to compete with other people, you start to compare yourself with other people, you're always going to be holding, number one, someone else ahead of you or above you, like, and absolutely not, right? Like, you are you, and that's just it, and no one can do what it is that you do. But also, you're constantly going to be striving for someone else's goalpost, for someone else's, like, whatever they set their goal as. And what I also teach to this day is, when you're doing that, even if you don't even, don't understand that that's what you're doing, you also cannot move until that person moves. Like, what sense does that make? And that's why I'm like, to what end are you going to continue comparing yourself to someone else, to continue competing against someone else's goal for themselves? Like, who does that? will do that. And I will tell you, it's human nature to go into this mode of looking at what someone else has and then desiring that thing for yourself. But you have to know where the line is, right? There's a line there of jealousy and crossing over into someone else's pathway, right? And crossing over into someone else's goalpost. What's going on, Scarlett? I see you, says me. Sending you much love, prayers, of course. Germany, what's going on? There are people in the building, and guess what? This will stay up for replay, and I want to encourage you because, there are people who are looking to you, like for your gifts, your talents, your abilities, and sometimes you're an audience. Your audience is one, right? But that one person needs what it is that you have, and so you gotta continue showing up and pushing forward. And this is exactly the point of the message today. Is like, don't compare, right? What's for you is for you. When you get in that place where you're supposed to be at, where you operate in your lane, it comes so naturally, it comes so easily. You get excited, you feel passionate about the things that you're doing. You're not doing it for applause. You're not doing it to please other people. You're doing it because this is what fills you up. This is what brings you joy. This is, what motivates you toward what it is that you are striving for. You cannot be competing with someone else for someone else's goal. Like, it just doesn't work out that way. Again, there will never be an end to that. And you also diminish your own independence. You diminish your own, personal achievements. Like, what is it that you actually want? What do you want in this life, right? Not what somebody else wants, not the goals that somebody else set for you. We grew up, like, I feel like that's how society conditioned us, right? Like, through school, through all of these institutions, like, we grow up all so focused on somebody else's goal. Like, graduate through 12th grade, right? Then go to college, right? Like, these are sometimes not our own goals. So we have to figure out what is it that we want for ourselves. I remember, I'll give you a quick example before I hop off of here. Great morning. Hey, what's going on, IG? I see you on Woodsway Home. What's going on, Juan? I see you on as well. What's going on? Again, if you're watching this on the Jump First Academy YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button, like button, bell notification so you know when I'm live. I love interacting with you guys. Is it one idiot? I don't know why that's your name, right? If your screen name is if it's idiot, I don't want to say, I don't, why is that your name, right? Like, positivity, encouragement, empowerment. Think about changing your name. Says, you're so great, I can really feel your passion. I appreciate that. Remember, like, how you show up in this world, again, like, people are looking to you, whether you know it or not. People look up to you, right? People look to you for your encouragement, your empowerment as well. So be very mindful about how it is that you're showing up. I'll share this really quickly before I hop off. I remember getting into graduating, right? It was 11th grade. And one of my counselors asked me in high school, what is it that you actually want to do, right? Like, what is it that you're looking forward to? And I told her I wanted to be a pediatrician. Like, that was my goal from like age 7. I was like, that's what I want to do. I want to be a doctor. Now I have a PhD, right? But I'm not an MD. But I'll tell you like how that kind of came about. But when I told her that I wanted to be a pediatrician, she immediately was like, you need to go into a biology major. Like, that's going to be your major for, hang on one second, y'all. I got to remove some people from this group. What's going on, y'all? All right, so she was like, that's gonna be your major for college, biology. Like, you should go into bio or STEM, chem, like something like that if you want to be a pediatrician. Well, long story short, years later, I found out like that wasn't the only pathway, right? You can kind of, undergrad, yeah, you got to take some of the core classes, but you can do whatever you kind of want in undergrad before you move over to, really going in hardcore into the into your med classes. But yes, biochem, all of those things, you should take some of those classes in undergrad. But I didn't need to be a bio major, okay? So when I got there, I struggled. I loved the labs. They were easy. They were fun. They came natural. I was always a curious person. I'm still curious to this day. But as a child, my parents used to be like, girl. Okay. But, the labs were cool. The written work was my problem. That was my struggle area because I did not believe in regurgitating information, right? Like, it was hard for me to just go through, memorize the textbook, and then regurgitate the information. Like, and I still don't teach my classes that way. I don't recommend you teach your classes that way either. So that was hard for me. But I was taking humanities. So I was taking like women's studies classes, psychology classes, Black American studies. Like, I was doing all of these humanity classes in humanity. There we go. Humanities. And it was coming so naturally to me. I was excited about it. It was my lane, right? Like, I could create and this is full circle what we're talking about. Your comparison is stalling out your creativity. You cannot get into your flow, your mode, when you are constantly looking to someone else's goal. Okay, my counselor, listen, I love her and there's no shade to her here. She just didn't know what she didn't know, and I didn't know what I didn't know, right? And so she set me on a pathway to discover, like, sure, I stayed in bio major for 3.5 years. I struggled through that. My first year I had a 1.7 GPA. People never believe me when I tell them that. I had a 1.7 GPA. Okay, my first year of college, my first semester, I did not understand it, and all I knew was I came from high school, middle school. I hardly had to study. I was always in those gifted and talented programs, right? I was always in those advanced classes, and I didn't have to study for, and I ended my all the way through 12th grade with like a 3.5, 3.7 average GPA, something like that, right? And so I got into college, I had a 1.7 GPA, and it was because I couldn't adapt. Like, I needed to up my skill level, and I also had this newfound independence, okay, of being on campus and living my life and being an adult and all of those things. And so it's one of these things where I feel like, no shade to my counselor, but also I had to find my own path. Like, I had to find my creativity. I had to find my lane. And I'm very, very grateful for that experience. Although I suffered 3.5 years, it allows me to sit here and provide the inspiration today, and also encouragement and empowerment to someone else who may be in the same situation. Maybe it's not university level, right? But even in life in general and business in general, right? I struggled through the first year of my business. I did great and did the $12,542 in less than 14 days when I did launch my course, but that doesn't mean that I still didn't have struggles, right? And even to this day, my mentors and people that I talk to who I aspire to achieve some of the goals that they have achieved, right? Like, I have not necessarily taken their goals, but I have modified the things that they have. Like, some of those things I modified for my own life. Like, yeah, I want that, right? Like, one of my mentors was doing 150 mil a year from one business. Like, yeah, that is very aspirational, okay? Very inspirational. And so you can take those goals and modify them, but their goal doesn't become your goal. Does that make sense? You apply the goal to your own life and you figure out, what do I want? What's the vehicle that I'm going to take in order to get there? That's the important piece here, okay? So I just wanted to notate that, and going through those struggles, I'm telling you, like, your story, you have no idea how much it can impact somebody else, even the parts of it that you think are just not relevant. Like, who would have thought back then, me struggling through 3.5 years of being a bio major, okay, that was my own personal struggle, and my own personal connection that I had to make. Who would have thought that fast forward, man, I won't even tell you how many years later, but who would have thought that I would be telling that story right now today, right? And as a part of my business. And so just encouraging you, every part of your story is significant, it's important for somebody, and it's important for you so that you can really set the goals that you need to set for yourself. Super important. Wizway Home says, this is why they say you are so positive. I appreciate that. I am. I mean, I can't help it. And then she says, what, 1.7 GPA? Yeah, right. No, for real. I had a 1.7 GPA. I still have the screenshots. I pulled it out. I screenshotted it so many times, y'all, over the years. It's the truth. I had a 1.7 GPA and it was crazy. I was on academic probation, the whole nine, okay? And I pulled out of that and went all the way through to get my PhD. You know, anything is possible. You have to set your mind to it, make your own goals, set your mind to what it is that you want and desire, and understand, like, Jump First is all about alternative pathways to success. Like, your path may not look like anybody else's, and that's absolutely okay. All right. Scarlett says, wow, that's crazy. Yeah, I mean, it's the truth, right? So I just want I want to encourage you, start sharing your story, start talking about it, start writing it down, the parts that you think aren't relevant, the parts that maybe you forgot. There are so many things that come up all the time when I'm talking to my nieces, my nephew, my sisters. I'm reminiscing about things and I'm like, totally forgot about that part of my story. So that is your story too, is that there are parts, and I know this is true for most people, there are parts that you forget about. There are parts that you think aren't relevant, but it all is relevant. And I want you to go back and do this exercise as a practical tip for really understanding, like, comparison as related to independence and creativity and all of those things. And I do this ever so often because it is easy, again, it's a slippery slope to see people online having things that you want, right, in life, and then being able to modify the goals to your own life versus becoming jealous. And you're either going to hate or you're going to create. And that's what I truly believe. And so I want you to do this. I want you to think about things that you've been through in your life. Start writing those things down, like physically, so that you can see them, see how you have come through, right? The adversity that you've been through, all of the achievements, the things that you've achieved in your life. I want you to start to take note of those things, okay? And really take a hard look at them and look at your life now and how you are moving forward. Understand and start to write down, like, what are some of your goals that you have for yourself and how are you going to achieve them? What comes naturally to you? What are you passionate about? What do you feel in your heart about the path that you should take? And then from there, I always advise, seek out a mentor, seek out someone who they have the thing that you actually want, and maybe they also, have taken out an alternative path to get there. Whatever pathway aligns with what you feel in your heart, seek out somebody else who has done that thing in that way, and then move forward from there. I think it's so, so important. Oh my God, your screen name again. It is in says, I love listening to you. I really appreciate that. Again, I really encourage you to think about changing your screen name and how people are going to see you and show up. Because it seems like you have something that you could teach, other people. It seems like you want to empower others. And so I'm just encouraging you in that way. Scarlett says violinist, possible pianist, or teacher. I love it. I love it. I love it. So look at all of your life, okay? Take note, take inventory of the things that you have been through, how you came out the other side, and just start sharing your story. If you need help packaging your story, as always, shameless plug, jumpfirstacademy.org is where you want to go in order to get started. Ronnie Das, I love it. I remember these books, says there is no win in comparison, okay? Absolutely not. Like, it just takes your eyes off of what you want to do. Like, it's just not a thing. It's just not a thing that we should be doing. We should not be competing with anyone else. Like, it's you, okay? It's always been you, and that's just it. I love y'all so much. Again, jumpfirstacademy.org in order to get started. I am out of here. I have some meetings for today, and so I want to make sure that I am prepped and ready for those. I appreciate y'all hanging out with me. As always, it has been amazing. Keep believing in you because I believe in you, and I'll see y'all back here tomorrow, same time, same place. By the way, if you are not subscribed, hit that subscribe button, like button, bell notification so we can come hang out. I'm usually here between 8 and 9 Eastern time, a.m. All right, 8 and 9 a.m. Eastern time, and I love chatting with y'all. So have an amazing day. I'll see y'all back here for Winning Wednesday. Let's just call it